drivers are here in I2I. There's no room for fear. Green flag drops and the engines roar. 40 cars and we all want more. Mash the gases, we're on the line. Four wide and we're feeling fine. Drifting close in a slipstream dance. Taking the corners in a high-speed trance. Through the chicane, it's side by side. On Motor Mouth, there's nowhere to White flag need a perfect lap. All gas, no brakes to close that gap. Checkered waves in the race is won. Another battle is over and done. Just to the booth, hope they like the show. Victory lane is all I know. Sun's going down and the rig is on. iRacing is where I belong. Discord's lit and the drivers are here. In I2I, there's no room for fear. Green flag drops and the engines roar. 40 cars and we all want more. Mash the gases, we're on the line. Four wide and we're feeling fine. Drifting close in a slipstream dance. Taking the corners in a high-speed trance. Through the chicane, it's side by side. On Motor Mouth, there's nowhere to White flag need a perfect lap. All gas, no brakes to close that gap. Checkered waves in the race is won. Another battle is over and done.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Daytona for the I2I Championship 200 here tonight, the final round of our season. Three drivers with a realistic chance of taking home the title in the O'Reilly Series after 200 miles of racing tonight. Brian Nash leading the standings, Zach Tyndall 19 points behind, and Joshua Parent, who's led twice in the last 3 weeks but lost it on both times. It is a pleasure to be with you on Motorsport Broadcasting, bringing you the final round of this season. Myself, Ian Deliri, Charles Bushell on the commentary box, on my own behind the cameras of this broadcast here tonight. It's the one we've been waiting for, Charles. It's the final round of the season. It's at Daytona. It's under the lights. And we've got three drivers with a realistic chance of winning it. It's going to be an absolutely fantastic end to this season. We've been building up for this for a long time now. We've had a great series, actually, in back and forth. This championship leader has gone between a lot of different drivers, but now it pretty much all comes down to this at Daytona tonight.
Yeah, and it really does. And, championship Saturday night, this is the big one. So if you're out there watching tonight, I'd stick around to the final lap because anything and everything may happen tonight. It is just one of those races here at the Super Speedway that you could be in position to win the championship and then lose it in the blink of an eye from something just completely random here on the track. So it's Brian Nash is all to play for. I know we've got some championship scenarios ahead, but the big thing is Brian Nash is in the driver's seat, so to speak, tonight. He controls his own destiny with that with the lead that he has over Parrott and Tyndall.
Yep, and Brian Nash is definitely here, as is Zach Tyndall, actually currently running third. in this practice session, but we just had word through that Joshua Parent is rushing to make it to the session in time. Hopefully he does, at the very least, at the end of qualifying, so that he can start from the back of the field. But he's been the dominant driver, I think we'd say, this season, Charles. Joshua Parent. 4 race victories over the course of the previous 13 rounds, and that is more than anybody else, no surprise there. But he's missed the last couple of weeks, which is, or 2 out of the last 3 weeks, I should say, which has caused him to lose the championship lead on both of those rounds that he missed. He won it back by winning the 3rd last round of the season, and also clubbed, I believe it was, just a couple of weeks ago. But, he's been the dominant driver this season and will feel perhaps as if he deserves to win this title, and maybe many would agree. But you've got to be at enough races and be consistent enough through all the races. When you're not winning, when you're not in the top 10, in the top 5, that's where the championships are really won and lost here. So it would be a shame to see Parent not win it with the highest win tally. And as I say, he's been a spectacular driver this season. But you don't win championships for wins, not in this series anyway. It's points based, and so Joshua Parent has got to at least turn up tonight, and to be honest, has got to have a pretty good night, I think, to turn it around on Brian Nash and Zach Tyndall.
Yeah, completely agree. Is you see a lot of championships won by just a consistent driver coming in and just collecting points week in, week out. Doesn't have to get a win, just has to get, good points, top 5s, top 10s, and be consistent with it. And then you've got Parent, who's been, when he's won races, has been really dominant. I mean, let's be fair, he has been an exceptional driver. But once again, you have to be here. You have to at least collect a few points, even if you're not competing for a victory. And so those misses this year will be his downfall if he doesn't win the championship. It's unfortunate, but that is the way that these races work.
By the way, if Brian Nash doesn't win tonight, he could win the championship without having won a race at all. That would be pretty extraordinary, I feel. I'm sure we've all seen it in championships in the past. I'm not saying it's unprecedented, certainly in the world of motorsport, but Brian Nash has not won a race all season. Now, in the real world, I seem to remember, I can't remember what year it was, Charles, but a season like this where a champion only won one race, I think was it Matt Kenseth or something? Motivated NASCAR to put in the playoffs as they did about 20 odd years ago. We're not doing that here. We've already had playoffs indeed in this series, and they are coming back, and we'll talk about them in a short while. But it would be unusual, wouldn't it, to see a driver win a title on no race victories at all? That really would be unusual.
That would, and I think that was one of the reasons that NASCAR changed their points format and went to the chase and the playoff system, is because you had a guy like I think it was Matt Kenseth actually that did maybe won one race for the season, but was top 5 seemingly week in and week out. And still ended up winning the championship. And they said, well, I think we might want to rethink that. So, but it goes the other way as well. But I will say, as we're getting ready for qualifying here, I do want to shout out this league. I know you've been involved in lots of league broadcasts and things like that. And we've got as many drivers here for the final race of the season as we've had during every race this season. So we're 20 plus out there tonight. Normally when you get to the points where a lot of the drivers are no longer in competition for that championship, you might see a few drivers just decide not to show up, but it looks like everybody's out here tonight ready to go racing.
Yeah, indeed, and absolutely right. A big thanks to Trey and everybody who's made this league what it has been over the course of this 14-round calendar, spread across the last 4 months or so, really, with the Invitational All-Star race in there as well. As we announced last week, the schedule for the Gen 6 season coming up next is already announced. We'll be live with the Daytona opener on the 18th of July, ready for a 24-week season, an 18-week regular season, followed by a 6-week playoff campaign. There you can see it. That playoff campaign, by the way, spread across Christmas, as you can see there, ending on January 30th. So very much hope to see you at next season in the Gen 6 cars, starting at Daytona on the 18th of July. So yeah, a few weeks off for us in the meantime. I think, was it 4 weeks off or so in terms of regular season races, which is a little bit unusually long, as Trey said the other week. But it's July 4th and all that, so we'll be off over that period, because nobody's going to want to race on Saturday night, July 4th weekend. So well, I would, but I'm not driving. I might have a chance at a win in that case. Anyway,
there you go. Yep.
Anyway, let's talk about qualifying at Daytona, because I always say this is not the most spectacular thing in the world to watch, but there is a lot to this in terms of your outlap, then the first lap, really building in to that second lap where even the very slightest of a brush on the apron or whatever it is, slightest bit too much steering lock used through each end of the racetrack, that can cost you hundredths of a second, and hundredths of a second is what's going to decide this qualifying session, no doubt.
Yeah, absolutely. This is you're going to see about 20 cars or so that are going to be separated by probably 0.2 of a second here once we're done with qualifying. And and there's a technique to it. You just get on your outlap, you keep the car as high as you can. The first lap, you basically sacrifice. You're just trying to build momentum. You're going to keep the car up on the high side of the track. Then when you start that second lap, it's going to be as close to that yellow line as you can get. You do not want to come down through the yellow line onto the apron. It will scrub off speed, so you want to keep that as tight as you can. The shortest way around this track is down at that yellow line, and as you can see here with Nash, that's exactly what he's doing as he's on the back stretch, and you just see right up against that yellow line, but no further than that. And he will absolutely keep that thing hugged to the bottom as much as he can without turning too much in. As you said, not as much steering input. You want to kind of keep your hands light and allow the car to just kind of move around a little bit and not scrub that speed off to get the maximum performance out for this one lap. If you're going to get two chances at it, but only one of them for posterity's sake is going to count.
And that puts Nash up to the top. He clearly believed he could get there as well, because if you're a championship leader in this scenario, to my mind, you want to start right at the front or right at the back. And Brian Nash has decided right at the front is going to be where I'm going to start this race. And so he's taken the pole for the moment. James Tate's coming over the line at the moment to complete lap number 2. We'll see whether that's an improvement at all. He's almost exactly a tenth behind. I know he slightly improves, but he doesn't move up from 12th place at that second lap time. Ryan Daly will then be next over line as Sam Sromati ends his first lap time. That's not a bad first lap, a 6-1 for Sam Sromati, so watch out for his second lap. But Ryan Daly will be next over the line, currently running in 20th place after that first time, which was not representative at all. Nearly 7 tenths, in fact, slower than Brian Nash, who is currently on the pole. What is this time going to be for Daly as he comes up towards the line? Is it going to be an improvement at all? It certainly is. And he moves up into the top 10 as well. As you say, the second laps really are the crucial ones here.
Yeah, and you just look at what we were just talking about a minute ago. Look at the lap times. The top 3 drivers were even down to the 100th. The next 6 are only 0.02 of a second off. So you've got 9 drivers within 0.02 of a second in qualifying time.
Over the line for Sromati, and he moves to 4th. He's on the second row at the moment with Daniel Nogue, who's in red-hot form, by the way. 3rd place in this qualifying session, it looks like, as this one draws to a close. Sromati only just got that in time, by the way. He was very, very close to running out of time in qualifying there. Only 5 minutes allowed. In I2I, it's a solo session, obviously. So that is it for qualifying. We're ready for the I2I Championship 200 here from Daytona. And it is the perfect possible start for Brian Nash in as far as defending his championship lead is concerned. It's actually his first pole position of the season. And so he can be very, very pleased with that effort. Caleb Ross will start alongside in the Bass Pro Shops 27. You can see on the front row. Next row will be, as I say, Daniel Nogue in absolutely red-hot form. 3rd place at the moment on a run of top 5s that is stretched to 2 weeks in a row after not having one for the first 12 weeks or 11 weeks of the season. Sam Sromati with that late lap time, as we saw, got up to 4th place to go alongside on row 2. Cameron Sorrow is next in 5th place, best of the Toyotas, in front of Ryan Simmons in that 32 on row 6. Row 3, rather, in place 6. Row 4 is then Austin Stamper, who's ahead of Jason Reeves. There's a Matt Kenseth style livery there from a few years ago. 8th place. It looks like Gen 6 here, actually. A bit early on that, but anyway, he's getting ready for next season. Nathan Merrifield is at 9th place in front of Ryan Daly, who we saw put on quite a late lap time as well there, and he rounds out the top 10. Zach Tyndall is in the 43 tonight, and he's alongside Trevor Thomas on row 6. Tyndall, one of those championship contenders, of course. Braxton Merrifield starts from 13th in front of James Tate, who's on row 7. Then it's Court Hansen and Cody Johnson, who are on row 8. And then the final couple of rows are those who actually set times here. Christopher Herr and Dylan Jackson on row 9. And rounding out the top 20, Jake Miller and Steve Cunningham. Then 3 drivers will also be starting who didn't set times. Michael D'Adamo, Mark Dingman and Sean Lester will all... Well, Sean Lester's not actually on the grid yet. We'll hope that he does get onto the grid in the next few moments and he gets underway. Unfortunately, as you may see there, no Joshua Parent on the grid. He's not made it in time. So officially, one of our championship contenders has fallen by the wayside already. The 4-time race winner in this season, Joshua Parent, is not going to win this race here, this championship, this season. It's between Brian Nash and Zach Tyndall. They are 19 points apart at the start of the day. And already we'll start doing some maths on what that means for stage points and so on, and where that could put Brian Nash by the end of just 30 laps in this first stage tonight. But I don't know if that simplifies the equation for Nash or not, really. Parent would have been feared, of course, but Daytona's so unpredictable. I think you'd fear the driver who is closest to you on points, really, no matter who it was, and that is Zach Tyndall, who starts the day in second place in points.
Yep, I think you're absolutely right. And so that is the closest threat. And I believe we talked with Trey Graber, the race director, before this, and he said the magic number for Brian Nash tonight was 31 points. That's all he needs. He gets that either through stage points or at the end of the race, and he is our champion, and it doesn't matter what anybody else does. So that is what Brian Nash has got his sights set on. Obviously, starting at the front is a pretty good place to be. That's going to keep you out of most of the trouble here at the early going, and then it's just settled in. Also did hear that they said that 23 laps or so of fuel, and that is not in the draft. So that's obviously going to stretch that a bit, but not sure if that's going to get you to the 30 to the stage break. So we may be seeing some pit stops here before our first stage is over with, and then that means there'll be some more strategy involved for that second and final stage tonight.
I think we're going to see, if there is one caution, I think, in this first stage, then they'll probably be fine with a bit of draft as well and a bit of fuel saving in the pack. But we'll wait and see. You never know. It's the I2I Championship 200 here from Daytona tonight. 30 laps in the first stage, 80 laps overall, making up this 200-mile race to round off the season. Into the restart zone for the first time, the start zone, and we're underway for one final time in the O'Reilly Series at I2I Motorsports. Brian Nash, championship leader, brings them to the green at lap 1.
Yeah, nice easy start by everybody. Nobody doing a lot of shuffle. We see Simmons drop to the bottom there just to get on the low line. The low line, I think, is going to have a little bit of an advantage here at the start of the race. When it all ramps up, you'll see a lot of cars trying to hook down to the bottom. And that outside line, as people start get runs, will grow a little bit, and you may see some double file as we're seeing right now during some parts of the race, but then that'll be others where we'll see probably just single file runs.
Yeah, we may well do, as we ride on board in the middle of the pack here, down on the low side. Generally, it's been the lower side prevailing at Daytona or Talladega in the early laps, early 1 or 2 laps. Seems to take a little bit of time for that outside line to get organised and really going, and you can see on the outside there, Caleb Ross is leading the line. He qualified second, already down to 7th here. That outside line, as I say, just needs a couple of laps, and then it will start to gather some momentum.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's the key to it. This is a patience race. You have to be patient. You're not going to get away. As we see a car down low, that's the 31 car of Sean Lester. He did actually get out on the track, so he is efforting to get out there, and he'll be a lap down as he gets going here, but he'll get caught up, and he'll just kind of tuck to the back, and as we get caution flags, as long as he's not involved in it, should be able to get that lap back.
Yeah, seems to have some real trouble staying connected at the moment. That must have been the reason why he didn't start the race with everybody else. He joined late on and is now running on his own at the back. There's a couple of drivers actually who are disconnected now from the rest of the train, Michael Dadamo and Mark Dingman. And I do wonder about that strategy for a non-championship contending pairing like those two are. I don't know whether that was actually intentional or not, but it has happened. I don't think it's the worst idea for them to hang off the back of the pack by a second or so. This is the thing with the stage that you can say, well, this shouldn't be a thing and it's a bad thing, or it's a sort of smart thing and an extra element to these things. But knowing that the caution will be on lap 30, you can drop off the back knowing that you're not going to get lapped before there's another caution. So you can effectively, very early on in this stage, just get off the back of the field and avoid any crash if there is one here in the first 30 laps, because you're running multiple seconds off the back of the main pack.
Yep, absolutely. That is a strategy that is pretty effective here on these super speedway races. Is just tuck to the back. If you can hang on to the draft riding back there, great. If you can't, not that big of a loss. As long as you've got somebody back there working with you, you can keep up the pace pretty well. It'll take them, 12 to 15 laps before they're able to circle around and maybe catch you. But usually by then we're under caution for some issue. So yeah, good strategy to just hang back there. And once again, this is a patience race. Brian Nash sitting up to the front, ahead of Nogue, and Simmons is in the prime spot. He's not, like we said, he's not getting away. So he's just going to be able to just ride around. Nobody's going to be making moves to try and get by. I would say if anybody would be doing it, it would be Tyndall, because I think there are bonus points for leading the most laps. So if Tyndall has opportunity to move up, he may do that to try and get to the front of the field and just pick up every little point he can, because that's going to be crucial here during this race.
We don't actually have any bonus points anymore in this series, so it is just the stage points that they'll be fighting for. I was going to mention just on points though, while we're on it, and while they're all running single file, by the way, because there are 22 now, 23 in the race. Oh, and there's trouble. No. We'll get back to that. There's trouble, and it's happened just in behind the top 10 here. So both championship contenders will get through comfortably. It was all single file all the way down, but these are sometimes the most dangerous moments as well. See what happened here through 3 and 4. Oh, it's happening up ahead already here.
Yeah.
I think, the 20 is involved with the 88. That is Jason Reeves. That might be in the 86. Was it James Tate in the 88 or just Steve Cunningham in the 86 who's gone down to the pit lane here? The 20, though, definitely involved. See if we can see. Someone moving up. It's just Constantina down the line. Yeah. I suppose just the run that people were getting was just massive, and eventually it made its way down the line. And a lot of drivers involved in that one in the first caution of the night.
Yeah, I saw a car move up, and I could not see who it was, but kind of came up the track, and I think maybe that was just maybe a little bit of cars maybe panicking just a little bit, just kind of giving that car room to catch himself, and just back the line up. And you see what happens when anybody changes their kind of direction of travel. You see the car go up there, the 82 car, and just I think maybe a checkup by maybe the 88 or maybe the car in front of him, and that started the chain reaction.
I wonder if Zach Tyndall was far enough down so that he could get actually a bit of contact there because of that real chain reaction which was happening down the field. He's not one of the drivers who's had to come in, by the way. 4 drivers are in. Jason Reeves, Trevor Thomas, Jake Miller, and Steve Cunningham are all in pit lane at the moment. This is where Zach Tyndall was. Watch out for the 43 here. Does he have front to rear contact here? No. So happens just behind him. Saw in the mirror there, just behind him. And you see nobody's behind him anymore. So he was the last one to get through unscathed. That is quite remarkable. I suppose it has to be somebody, doesn't it? But he was the last one to get through there, and he'll be breathing a sigh of relief.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's one bullet dodged as everybody comes down to the pits. They're going to top their tanks. I don't think I'm going to see any cars go up on the jacks for fresh tires. It's just going to be fuel and then back out, and they'll get started again. So this probably will get everybody to the end of the first stage. So we'll have our stage break there at lap 30, and that should get everybody, I think, fairly comfortably as we're working lap 6 now. So I'm sure, or lap 7. So we should be okay to get to the end here of this first stage.
Yeah, absolutely think so. Excuse me. Court Hansen and Caleb Ross, the only ones to stay out there, by the way. So the race off pit lane was Nash, Nogue, Simmons, Saro, Sramati, Merrifield, Nathan Merrifield, ahead of Stamper, and then Zach Tyndall, rounding out the top 10. All of those guys taking fuel only, down to Mark Dingman in 15th. And Braxton Merrifield and Dylan Jackson with 4 tyres. James Tate with some repairs. And Sean Lester's only just made it into pit lane, so we'll be doing that at the moment. But Jake Miller, Jason Reeves, Trevor Thomas, Steve Cunningham still in pit lane. All of them at least 1 lap down, might be about to go multiple laps down here. And, well, we might have lost our first contenders from this race. We started with 23, might already be down to 19, although there are some race cars making their way back out again here. You can see Jason Reeves, yeah, well, they're all back on their way back out again. So there's going to be a number of guys running laps down, or at least a lap down, but doesn't seem that anybody is quite knocked out the race by that opening crash there.
Nope, doesn't appear so. As we see, I think everybody out but Trevor Thomas, who's still in getting repairs, and that is good. Another good thing about Daytona is long pit caution laps, so you can save that fast repair and get the work done naturally. Plenty of time to come in and maybe even make a couple of stops during a caution period. So he's going to get back out. He is going to be 1 lap down, but only 1 lap down. He'll jump in with that other group that includes Reeves, Cunningham, and Miller, and they'll be fighting for the lucky dog for the next caution.
They certainly will, and that's an interesting battle within itself always to watch. When the drivers are fighting for that free pass position. I was just going to mention on the points, by the way, at the stage break that I didn't get a chance to before the caution actually came out, so I'll just mention this. Brian Nash and Zach Tyndall at the start of the day separated by 19 points. With 23 drivers in the race, the maximum you can gain at the end of the race is 26 points. So that's what Zach Tyndall needs to be within at the end of the stage. In a position that they were running at a time there, then he would have been out of championship contention, and Nash would have had it won at the stage. If Nash gains 7 points on Zach Tyndall here, then he will be the champion at the halfway stage. Well, not the halfway stage, sorry, but on lap 30. But if Zach Tyndall finishes inside the top 7 at this stage, then there's no way that Nash can seal it before the stage break. If he's in the top 7, he gets 4 points. He can only lose 6 from there. That put him 25 behind, and it would make it very unlikely, but it would still keep him in contention. So some interesting things to note from the early moments anyway. Now though, Nash is sort of embedded in the middle of the, well, not quite the middle of the pack, but he is restarting here from 3rd.
Yep, and you see the damage on the back of the 27 car. I don't know that I want to be behind him. He's going to be a little loose on the rear there. Is going to have a little bit of rear downforce missing from that car. So he may be, if you decide you might want to bump draft, he may be a little squirrely there as you get into the back of him. It may be difficult to hook that car up. And we get ready to go green as we hit the pump and up restart zone, and we're back underway.
So Nash already able to slip into 2nd place. Tyndall's going to be stuck on the outside there, and based on how it got single file in that first run, might well get shuffled quite a long way back here. You can see them all looking to get to the low side there on this restart, and that rear end damage might be doing some real harm. There's, very close. Caleb Ross there, forced 3 wide up to the high side through 1 and 2 there, and he is clearly affected by that damage. And he's been replaced on the outside already. It's Daniel Nogue who's very much on his own up there on the high side. And now Caleb Ross is going to tuck back into line on the lower side there. But already look at how single file they're getting it, even after just 1 lap.
Yeah, Nogue now stuck on the outside by himself practically. There is a car about 4 or 5 car lengths back, but he's getting a little bit of a tow. He's not really helping Daniel Nogue very much as he's out there by himself. And he's going to have to start looking for way in out. We see the O2 car come up to the top as we see a few cars taking the opportunity to come to the high side. So that's going to start building that line. Those guys will close up to the back of Nogue fairly quickly, I would think, unless one of them slips back in there. There's a bit of a gap there behind the 29 car. So there is opportunities for somebody to drop down to the bottom. So we'll see if they decide to stay up and maybe help Nogue, or if they're going to pop back down and stay in the big line.
Well, maybe the outside is going to get something going now. I must think that when they're all running single file down there like that, well, we saw in that first run, it's almost more dangerous than seeing two wide moments down the field. Maybe that will prove to be incorrect, but the concertina effect on that inside line seems to be dramatic. You see some guys on the outside there just using that run really that they're getting here to now get in line with Nogue, and now Nogue's getting pushed by Ryan Daly, so he gets side by side with Sam Sramati now for 4th place. And like I said earlier, the opening laps are all for the inside line runners, but that outside gets a bit of momentum going, and here they come now. And there's even a challenge from Nash, who gets to the outside of Court Hansen, who's been able to lead a couple of laps here. Now Nash is going to be pushed back to the race lead again.
Yeah, he just slid up as he saw that run on the outside, tried to make the blocking the run there, and he's going to get a challenge there on the inside as the 02 kind of backed off a little bit there of the 63. He's got some damage on the rear as well, the 02 car does, so he's not quite up to full song either, but you see the line starting to equalize, so I think we may be in for some double file racing here for a couple of laps.
Yeah, and it might, as I said earlier, might well just help the group a little bit. Nogue here still pushing Nash, and haven't seen that inside line get a further run, so we haven't seen whether they're actually going to protect that inside. And Nogue actually wants to move down to the low side here, despite the outside still having some life in it yet. Daly here, now the one with the momentum on the outside, is getting somewhere. Can't pull in front of Hansen as well, but he stays leading the line anyway, and is going to get side-drafted a little bit there on the way towards the trial. Now are they going to move back up to the high side here when Daly gets the run? Here is Nogue, not quite, still close between Hansen and Daly again over the start-finish line there. This is this is more like the double file racing you expect to see at Daytona.
Yeah, it absolutely does. And I was just thinking back to last week, when we did the interview at the end of the race with Daniel Nogue. He said that Brian Nash has really been helping him to get his racecraft a little better, and so I think we may see some unofficial teammates up there at the front working together here in the first part of the race.
Yeah, you always need someone who's maybe not a teammate to just work with a little bit in this in this type of racing, this style of racing, super speedway racing here at Daytona. Coming up towards halfway in that first stage, just the one caution, which means that everybody's going to be able to make it to the end on fuel, even possibly Hansen and Ross, who decided not to pit when everybody had the opportunity to. Certainly those who actually did come down onto pit lane will easily be able to make it, but Nash still leads, and at the moment he's in championship winning position. Zach Tyndall side by side with Caleb Ross at the moment, only for 11th place though.
Yeah, still just double file as we see that outside line is about even with position 4, I think, 3 or 4. And so they haven't really dropped back, but they haven't really gained anything either since Nogue and Nash dropped back down to the bottom. They're just kind of marking time out there on the outside, but it looks like that the outside line is starting to build a little bit of momentum as they're starting to move up again. And so we'll see if we're going to get back up to the front. If we're going to get a challenge for the lead or not. I don't know that the 02 car with that rear end damage is going to be able to sustain that run at the front. But he does have some help behind, so you may see him get shuffled back here before it's all said and done, and get tucked back in somewhere in that either one of these other lines. But another car that may be a little bit quicker slides up to the front of that outside line and brings it back up toward Brian Nash's location.
Well, so far, Nash and Nogue have been a very good pair who've worked together, really. As you say, the 02 has really got that front rear end damage rather that might just be holding that outside line back. It's so important, isn't it, who's leading these lines here? It's not just a case of inside versus outside as a sort of objective matter of fact. It is who are the players in this as well as the actual conditions. And I think you can see here that when Nash was at the front of the outside, it was getting somewhere, and indeed they've got to the lead there with Daniel Nogue pushing, which is also a key factor. With the 02 up there leading the line, and not really getting anywhere.
No, not really. They're just there, but once again, they're not really losing time, but they're not gaining time either, as they're about even with position 5 there on the inside, and it's a little bit shorter. So there's actually a couple of cars less up there, and it is a numbers matter. So if you've got 15 down on the bottom and 10 on the top, the bottom is going to be quicker marginally. It's kind of a case of as we see Tyndall drop down to the bottom. It works, and there is a little bit of a power advantage, a little bit of a pace advantage, but it kind of dwindles the more the cars drop off. And now we see that as we see the O2 drop down, that outside line is just fracturing, and so the 2 cars that remain out there will start falling back, and they'll try and find their way in as well.
Well, they might do, but I wonder whether it might not be the worst idea to try and stay out there for when somebody else wants to actually make something happen. Oh, dear. Whoa. That is a really aggressive move down low there that, certainly wasn't taking on my advice there on the outside of just staying there and waiting for it to come back around again. That was really aggressive. There was barely a gap there. Now the 15 is going to get in as well. 16, sorry. There isn't a 15. Cody Johnson. But that gap's going to close there. The 1 gets to the rear of Caleb Ross now with that big damage, and he'll be heavy on the fuel save right now as well, because this has got the look of a green flag run about it right now, and that might not help those who haven't pitted yet. But there's 12 to go. Nash is leading. Tyndall is 9th. That would give him at the moment 8 points, Nash, and it would give him a 27-point championship lead, and therefore he would only need to finish in 23rd place or so. 23rd place, and there's only 23 in the race, so there you go. It's looking good for Nash at the moment. I do wonder what Tyndall knows about this sort of stage point scenario here, and if he knows just how aggressive he really does have to be in the final 10 laps here to really keep this alive.
Well, I mean, if he does, it doesn't show currently, as he is sitting there in 9th, and he has got that high line right behind him on the outside. And there is, if I'm in his position, I'm thinking, if I move up to the outside line, am I going to get these guys to follow me and push me, and maybe we can work our way back up to the front? That's kind of what I'm in my head. That's kind of what I'm thinking. But obviously, you don't know. I don't know that these guys know each other all that well. As we see that's the O2 car out there on the high side again, and he's just falling back all by himself. Unfortunately, he'll get back to that front 4 or to that outside 3 and make it a four piece there, as he just keeps falling back, and now he's right behind Tyndall there, as you just see him cut down to the bottom. So maybe that's a sign that, hey, maybe we do want to go up to the high side. I'll follow you if you want to go, and maybe we can get that outside working again. That's really all he's got in his arsenal at this point, is either staying in line in his position, which is P8, or taking a chance and going to the outside.
Yeah, at the moment he's saving this, I think, with an 8th place. I have to redo the maths. 7 points to be 26, and Nash would have to finish in 23rd with Tyndall winning, and that would give Tyndall, I think, the win on countback. It'd be tied on points. I think Tyndall would get it on race wins, but at the moment he's not going to the outside. Is he going to get in front of Johnson here? To my mind, he's got to try this on the outside line, Zach Tyndall. Is he going to go for it here on the backstretch? Even if somebody in front of him goes as well, it doesn't matter. He's got to go and try something. At the moment, he's in danger of getting boxed in. He's unsure about joining them on the outside, because so far it's not been successful. But I think with somebody else leading the line, other than Daly, they might get a bit more success.
Yeah, I kind of agree with you. I think this is the move if he wants to close that up, even if it's just with a couple of laps left in the stage, to get out there and maybe move that outside line up 2 or 3 positions. Is just a couple of points, but it's a really necessary couple of points. So right now, obviously boxed in, the 16 on the outside, right outside, that's Cody Johnson. The 86 of Cunningham is out there as well. Nothing doing at this point, as we're watching there, and so he's just kind of stuck where he is, and we'll see if that opens up and he takes the opportunity. But it's kind of all on him at this point to make that move or just stand pat and hope something else happens. We may see a couple other cars that aren't necessarily up there running for the championship, just want to get some stage victories, make a charge here the last couple of laps. But I think we're just kind of in that waiting game here until we get a little closer to the end of the stage.
Yeah, see, not only is Tyndall now not got the opportunity to move up on the outside there that I think he should have taken, he'd be knocking on the door of a top 5 by now, but also now he's boxed in. He can't actually go anywhere from here when he's on the inside. He's going to find it very difficult to without causing a crash. So just watch how long that outside line gets. At the moment there's only 3, so he's not going to get shuffled back forever on the inside there, but he is in a bit of trouble at the moment, boxed in with 7 to go at the line. Now, it does depend a little bit as well how hard the others are willing to fight Brian Nash for the stage points. I'm not sure how bothered everybody's going to be about the stage win here, considering that there's only 2 drivers who can actually win the title here. And hang on a second, we've got lap traffic, and this is always a bit of danger for these drivers. They've got to watch out here, and Tyndall is one of those first 2 are side by side here, so got to watch out here. Got to watch out. Where is that lap car? Not sure where this is. This is a long way down. This is where the front of the race is again. I don't know who that is, actually, just to in front of the race. It's Caleb Ross, actually, who's just pitted. Caleb Ross has just pitted because he needed some fuel. He made a pretty catastrophic decision not to come in during that caution. Now then, watch everybody come round Caleb Ross here, and watch out Zach Tyndall, because he's side by side already. He can't afford a 3 wide moment. He can't move, and he's 3 wide at the moment, just in behind Tyndall, and they really can't move past the lap car. The 3 wide, and it always happens. There's a crash behind him. There's a crash coming to the tri-oval. It always happens when lap traffic is around. 3 wide moments, and there is a caution for the second time tonight.
Yeah, we just saw, as you're absolutely right, you called it immediately as those lap cars were kind of working through. Just ran out of room, the 02, the 16 involved in that. Tyndall escapes again, not sure how, but absolutely it's right behind him once again. He just narrowly misses being caught up in a wreck. And fortune has smiled on him once again. As you see the 86 coming through the grass, the 16 sliding back up at the track and into the barrier on the outside. And that's just, it's just part of this racing. We've had those 2 cars that did not pit there in the first caution flag. Caleb Ross, one of those 2. He comes in, gets his service, gets his fast repair. Didn't notice the car had been cleaned up. And as the field was running through, then just ran out of room, unfortunately, for a couple of those cars, but very fortunately for Tyndall that he wasn't involved yet again.
And it will infuriate Jason Reeves, by the way, who was in the free pass position for quite some time there, until Ross got overtaken, and then seconds later, there's a caution. So Ross immediately gets a lap back there. So that's pretty annoying for Reeves and some of the others who are chasing that lap back. I'm sure there'll be more opportunities for them. And indeed, there'll be a short dash here to the next caution, where there will be a stage and somebody else will get the lap back. You can see it here. I mean, hard to know who's really at fault when there's 3 of them in like that. But as I said, it just happened. I mean, it's as sure as, it's as sure as the night would have fallen in time for this race in the evening. I mean, there's nothing in NASCAR, I don't think, that's more predictable than a crash when there's a lap car on a super speedway. I don't know. Yeah. It just seems to happen every single time. Yeah,
you're absolutely right. It happens. I don't know about every single time, but it's a pretty high percentage. I would agree with that. It's part of it. Is this, and it's always. I've seen leagues where they say, look, okay, if you're a lap down car, especially on a super speedway, we want where you run in the high line. You stay up at the top of the track and you stay there. The lead lap cars will pass you on the bottom. And it's up to those guys that are running that high line to either move down, give up ground, get out of the way, but or just clear the car best you can. But I don't know that there's any such rule here. And Caleb Ross was in his well within his rights to just run the bottom of the track and let those guys work high, and that's what happened. But obviously, as he was working his way back through, push came to shove, unfortunately, and we had another incident. And so, yes, I think Caleb Ross is going to be the one that gets the lucky dog. We'll see how this goes, but now we're at our second caution, and Zach Tyndall up to P7, Brian Nash leading. So 6-point gap, I believe, in stage points. I think we'll be able to get a couple of laps of green before we go to the stage. The stage break, and I don't know at this point now if maybe race control pulls the trigger and says no caution at the stage. We keep racing because we just had one within about 5 to the end of the stage.
Not sure. I think we'll find out, but I'm pretty sure that they'll just have this 3-lap dash. And Tyndall, by the way, will restart from 7th. So the reason why that's important from the inside. We did see a lot of pit stops there, by the way, on lap 25. Everyone outside the top 11 came into pit lane there. And so that means surely they're going to try and skip the pit stop at the stage, aren't they? They're going to forego the pit stop at the stage, whereas those who are staying out for stage points here and in the top 10 are going to come in, so they'll be therefore shuffled to the back. So that adds another layer of interest into this one as well. As oh dear, this is the 16 of Cody Johnson, who was having trouble there in that previous caution and has gone back to pit lane after attempting repairs. So he's another one of those who'll be fighting for the free pass, by the way. The guys fighting for free pass will be Jake Miller, Trevor Thomas, Jason Reeves, Steve Cunningham, Braxton Merrifield, and maybe Cody Johnson if he gets himself back out there quickly enough.
I think you're going to hear something. I think Miss Omet called it just right here. Yep, you heard it. That was a blown engine as he came out of pit road. So that was either a money shift or just maybe hitting the rev limiter a little too much, but absolutely blown engine. And that's a quick pull over, park it, tow it back. And hopefully he hasn't taken his fast repair yet, because if he has, that's probably a race done for Cody.
Yeah, indeed. That'll be a long repair if he can't use a fast one. So might well be the end of the day. Well, this could be a very important restart. In the next 3 laps, Brian Nash could seal this championship, or it could turn around and Zach Tyndall could gain some points that just puts the pressure on our championship leader going into the final 50 laps of this season. The next 3 laps could be very, very defining indeed. Championship defining indeed at the I2I Championship 200 here at Daytona tonight. Second caution of the night coming to a close. Second restart of the night undergone by Brian Nash again. Green flag waves, 3 to go until those all-important points.
Yeah, here we go, firing them back up again as we see the inside line getting good start. We see Tyndall on the inside there, working his way up. He's 4th car in line, I believe, if I'm counting correctly there. And we see 1 car drop to the bottom, so that's going to put him 5th in line. So if we keep getting a good run here from this inside line, that's going to give him a chance to pick up another couple of positions there. But you've got Nogue on the outside, who's been running basically right behind Nash for the vast majority of the first stage. Is going to drop back down to the bottom. He's going to get in the line as well. So we'll see how Tyndall is going to if he's going to be able to pick up a couple of positions there. As you see, Nogue actually, he pulled down to the front, so he got a great start and pulled down in front of Nash. So that's going to drop Brian Nash down to P2. Shermati and Simmons fighting there for 3rd and 4th. Stamper and Sorrow fighting for 5th and 6th, and Tyndall and Tate battling for 7th and 8th, as we're still too wide there through the front 5 rows.
Tyndall, they've really boxed in, as you can see. Nash, though, fighting for 2nd. Can't even stay in front of Stramati at the moment. But Nogue and Nash are together again. As you say, Nogue pulling in front of Nash. But look at the run for Stramati. He's looking for the lead here in the 48. Look at the push that he's getting for Austin Stamper towards turn 3. He can't quite pull in front of Nogue. Oh, this is close for the stage win at the moment. Super close through 3 and 4 for these two. Nogue at the front. It's all packed up here. Dangerous for both championship contenders as the points are now 2.5 miles away.
Yeah, as you see them, as we see that outside line getting a pretty good run. The 8 doing a great job of bumping the 48 up there in front. 48 is almost clear. Is he going to bring the 8 with him, or is he going to drop down and jump in front of Nogue? we're going to find out here is he looks like he's going to stay on the high side. So he's going to try and bring the 8 with him as they're working together, trying to get up to the front of the field.
This is going to be super close towards the finish here. Oh, look at that movement there on the outside. That might just kill the momentum. Here comes Nogue again. Sramatic. Oh, he's got loose. No, near. This is going to be a caution. Nash is only just going to get through. Zach Tyndall slows, and he's caught up in it. Zach Tyndall caught up in it. We're going to have to wait for the adjudication on who gets what points from that, because that's a big mess through 3 and 4 as they run at the moment. Nash is not far enough ahead of Tyndall to have stealed this at the stage. He's going to have to go the whole 200 miles tonight, but we have to wait to see what race control decide the points are going to be given out there, because look at this through 3 and 4. It's not as big of a crash as it could have been, but it involves both championship contenders, and it starts with Brian Nash, who gets into the back of Daniel Nogue here into 3.
Yeah, he just got the 63 a little loose with a bump, and as the 63 trying to catch the car, slides down and then back up and just hooks himself on the front of Nash's car. And you see the 43 got through there, a little bit of a bump there as he was trying to get the car slowed down to avoid the cars that were sliding in front. And I think he's pretty much got away with it, but obviously he's dropped a few positions on the track, so we'll have to wait and see what the race control comes up with here as far as our stage points.
We'll have to wait for Trey to give us the points, but as they run at the moment, Nash would be 23 ahead. That wouldn't be quite enough to have this sealed right now, but it would only require him to finish 19th or better. So he's still in absolute control at the moment. He's in absolute control, is Brian Nash. However, he may not have quite done it yet. And when you see an incident like that, you realise that until it is mathematically done, you can't relax here at Daytona. He's got to be absolutely on it from here on out, because anything can happen here.
That's exactly right. Yeah, that's why this is, they call this a wild card event, because you just never know what's going to happen. 73 stays out. Looks like the 43 is coming in, so he's going to have a blistering stop. 4 points difference between those two, so P3 and down to P7 for Tyndall. So now Tyndall into the pits. Sure, he wants to get maybe a little bit of repair work done on the front of that car, so you may see a fast repair get popped and his fuel tank gets loaded. I don't think we'll see tires again. I don't think he can afford to take them at this point, and probably doesn't need them, to be fair, at this point as well. The tires are going to be really durable here at Daytona. You may see those maybe at the midpoint or after during the race.
That is Trevor Thomas, by the way, who won the race for the free pass. So 18th position, getting back onto the lead lap. That's important, because just staying on the lead lap at the moment would be enough for Brian Nash to take home the title if those points that we saw them running there are to be believed. Trey Greber is currently typing a long message to us about where we are now in terms of points, so we'll report that back to you when we have it here. As the stops happen behind, all but the top 4 come in, and the interesting ones to stay out there are Nash and Nogue, who are great pushing partners. I think we've established in the first part of this race, but they pitted last on lap 6, so I'm not sure why they haven't pitted on this occasion. So Trey Greber's messaged us, if Zach Tyndall wins the race, Brian Nash has to be 18th or better to win the championship, because Brian Nash is plus 22 right now. So I would concur with that based on, did I just say that 18th or did I say 19th?
Anyway, I think we'll say you said 18th.
Yeah, fine.
Just don't rewind.
Well, exactly. I can't remember what I said, but anyway, it's 18th place that he needs or better. As I say, 18th place has just got the waiver back onto the lead lap, so Nash at the moment just needs to stay on the lead lap. And I must admit, if I was him, obviously you might not know that, especially if you haven't got a spotter telling you these kind of things, and you're just using the iRacing spotter, who definitely won't know what's going on. But the temptation for me to sit at the back and just ride around, in the draft still of everybody, yes, but not get involved really with all this at front, because I wouldn't want to be involved in a couple of crashes, that take me out completely. I'd be very tempted to do that, but I don't think Brian Nash will do that.
I don't think so either, but I did notice that he and Nogue both came in. We've cleared the stage points, and so they've came in for their stop. So they're going to come in, fuel up, so they will fall to the back of the main group, and that's going to let Tyndall slide up into P7. So he'll be up in the front. And if I'm Tyndall, I'm charging immediately. I'm going to try and get up there as quickly as I can, and put every bit of the onus on Brian Nash to perform here in the second half of this race. So I'm looking to get up to the front, and mainly, if nothing else, to get out of the potential destruction zone here, which seems to be right around the back half of the top 10. He's been lucky twice tonight, actually 3 times if you count the last one. And I don't know if that luck's going to hold for the remaining 50 laps of this race.
Yeah, indeed. I think you can say 3 times, to be honest.
Yeah.
He's absolutely been involved, or nearly involved 3 times now. So, I mean, fair play to him, but goodness me, his luck's going to run out one day. And he needs to win, by the way, to add to the scenarios that we're talking about here between him and Nash. He needs to win here. There's no way he can win the championship now without winning this race. So he's got to go absolutely all out to win from here. And again, situation for him, I don't know if he'll know that. Maybe he's just gone into the start of the day thinking that he's got to win anyway, and he'll certainly know that now, because he certainly knows that he's lost some points to Nash, even if he doesn't know exactly what's happening.
Yeah, and now on the other side of that is what Brian Nash is in P18, so he's right where he needs to be, but he's got 17 cars that are right in front of him that are going to be racing for this last 50 laps. So he's got to be very, very hyper aware of his surroundings here for the remainder of this race. I don't know that he's going to try and move up, as we are back underway for our second stage of tonight's race.
Yeah, Christopher Herr going to lead us to the green. Didn't stop under that stage caution either. Stopped just before the second caution of the day and stayed out to lead this race. In fact, most of those who came in under caution number 2 actually came in on caution number 3 as well, for whatever reason. And so Herr was the only one who did that properly, to my mind, and has therefore been rewarded with the race lead. But the second stage is underway. The final stage of the I2I Motorsports O'Reilly Series is underway for this season. The final 100-odd miles, 125 miles as we started this final stage here, is underway as well. And Christopher Herr is going to lead us round again to lead a lap here in a moment under green. There is Nash and Nogue. They've got a plan here. They are doing exactly what I thought they might. Stay at the back here and hope that this will be enough. They're certainly not going to be involved in any big crashes sat back there.
No, they're not. That's a very, very smart play. As we see the 43 slide up to the high side, so he looks like he is going to start working his way up to the front of this pack, and it's probably good timing to go ahead and do that. He's going to try and put the pressure on Nash there in the back. He's got to keep that a little bit closer. He can't really lose the back of the draft because with 46 laps left to go, they will catch those cars and lap them. And that is not going to be great news for Brian Nash. Ooh, a little squirrely there, the 0-2, as you see Tyndall trying to give him a little bump, and the 0-2 not really receiving that well, as he is up on the high side there. A little bit about 3 cars up there by himself, but he is second car in line on the outside.
Just trying everything at the moment to get something to happen here. As you can see, Nogue and Nash running on their own. We'll leave them to it. They're running on their own. They're off of the draft. They are trying to stay completely away from the race. By the way, the fight for the free pass, which would be interesting if there were a caution. Steve Cunningham currently leading that in front of Braxton Merrifield and then Jake Miller. They're the only 3 who are currently 1 lap down, as trouble on the outside line. Oh, we're 3 wide, pushed up to the high side. Nathan Merrifield is going to get dumped here by Ryan Daly, who's now leading the outside line again, and he's got his car repaired, by the way, so might be a better candidate at the front of this field. Tyndall's going to follow Daly here and try and keep Merrifield up on that high side.
Yeah, he's going to try and stay in that middle and stay in that long line and just kind of push Merrifield to the back. Once again, we're getting tight here as we're up on the banking. That one's got to be very, very careful on that high line. As you see, it's kind of splitting off that outside line just a little bit there as they're running too wide and slowing themselves down, trying to keep themselves off of each other. But the 0-2 and the 43 get together and stay together on the outside line as everybody works their way around the 1 car, and 43 and 2 sneak through, and looks like the 72 is going to be able to track them back down, so we'll get that line closing themselves back together here, and they can keep it going. But I was watching the lap timings there, and they're losing, Nogue and Nash are losing about a second and a half per lap to the lead pack. So, that's not good news for those two cars, because once again, they will start get a little bit further back every time. The longer we stay green, the more likely they're going to get caught and lapped by the pack.
They're taking the gamble here, aren't they, that there's going to be a caution before that happens. Now, I don't know why they've separated here, Nash and Nogue. They should run together. That would help it go a little bit faster at least. So I don't wonder whether Nash is slowing a bit here on the backstretch to actually allow Daniel Nogue to catch back up again. But anyway, they're taking a gamble that they will not be caught before the next caution in this race. We'll see whether that comes true or not. In terms of the next pit stops, by the way, it's going to be after lap 50 before we start to see any green flag pit stops here. And don't forget, the race leader Christopher Herr's going to have to be in first, because he last came in on lap 25, whereas most of the others on lap 31. So that's going to be next up, but that's over 10 laps time. And again, they're taking the gamble back there that there's going to be a caution before then as well.
Yeah, they really are, because the last lap was 48.03 for the leader, Herr, 50.02 for Nash, who is now a second and almost 1.8 ahead of Nogue. Not sure if Nogue's got a problem or not. I will say that they were running better when Nash was leading and Nogue was pushing. And when we had that restart, Nogue was in front. I just don't think that was working for him. And so now Nash is soldiering on his own there. And that's just going to make things worse, not better, because they're going to catch two single cars a lot quicker as we see Nogue now coming into the pits. So he may have some damage on his car that he needs to get fixed.
Yeah, and Nash indeed on his own, more than 2 seconds a lap now slower than those in front. Still a long way, though, until he's caught by some of the others. So we'll get an actual reading on that when the guys come over the line this time round. But he's sort of 2/3 of a lap still in front as we reach the exact halfway mark at the end of this lap in the I2I Championship 200 at Daytona tonight. Zach Tyndall trying to make things happen on the outside here, pushing Ryan Daly, who I do think is a bit quicker on the outside here, but I'm still not sure he's the best driver to actually have on that outside line at the moment. Still can't seem to break into that top three.
Yeah, and see the 43 car, at least from the way it appears, is maybe moving a little bit there, trying to stay behind Daly. And you got to be very square when you're doing that bump drafting, as we saw with Nogue and Nash earlier. You can't just bump them any form or fashion. You've got to just kind of line that up and give them a nice push, as opposed to just slamming or catching them sideways. That is the surest way to end the race for many cars tonight. So they got to be very careful if they're out on the outside here, that they don't that somebody doesn't get hooked and around.
And this outside line is going backwards again here. And Zach Tyndall is stuck in behind Daly, who forced it 3 wide, by the way, to get past Merrifield. Not sure whether he felt he was a better driver to have on the outside there, or whether it just happened through circumstance, or he was just avoiding an accident or what. But maybe he did believe that he would be the best driver to have on that outside. And look at that. Somebody just pulled up in front of him, and look at the shove that Daly gives there. I think it's Leicester, isn't it? The 31. Look at the stack up on the outside. It's slowed them down rather than actually helping that outside at the moment. Leicester really blocking Daly and sending them even further back, and that's not helpful for Tyndall either. Daly blinking right front, and he dips to the low side here. He sees the loss in momentum, and he wants to get rid of it, although he's been touched there, and they're super close again coming to the tribal. Tyndall cannot get rid of Daly right now.
No, he can't, and just the opening down there, I think Tyndall was a smart move, as we saw that line just getting a little crazy there. And now Tyndall may be getting a little bit of a push there on the low line. There's no place really for him to go, as he has dropped down and has worked his way around that number 31 car of Leicester. So Leicester's going to slot in behind him. And now if Tyndall wants it, he can go to the high line and lead it. And hopefully nobody stacks up behind him. But it kind of looks like that everybody's just kind of going to drop to the bottom, and we're going to go single file for a bit. Let everybody calm down just a little bit and settle back into a good rhythm. and then we'll see who wants to pop to the outside.
Oh!
Just as I say that, I saw a car there,
Wow.
and that was very, very close. Once again, right in the area of Tyndall, and that was, I believe, was that Merrifield in the one car, or was that a different car there? Maybe the 72. That was on the high side there, but once again, still a little frantic there in that the back half of the top 10.
It was Cor Hansen who was very close with Sean Lester there to making big contact. But look at the outside guys now going. As soon as the outside got too overpopulated there, everything slowed down. And a couple of guys, or three indeed, who've gone to the outside have gotten some momentum here. Can they use that now? And it just shows you what a difference the driver at the front makes, because now they're sustaining it as well. And so all of a sudden it's an attractive prospect now. Everybody going up to the top. Tyndall's still staying down outside the top 10 at the moment, actually. And just on the low side right now, just having a bit of a break from that outside, and maybe hoping that that momentum is very fleeting for the outside line. And still, to be fair, they've not broken into the top two, but Stramazzi and her are the only ones who don't have somebody from the outside line on their outside right now. Hansen is showing to be a formidable driver at the front of that outside line.
Yeah, he's really picked that outside line up as he's jumped out to the front. And if I'm Tyndall, it's like I'm thinking to myself, or I'm messaging daily, saying, "Look, dude, you're blinking. I don't want you in front of me. I need to be focusing on trying not to wreck and moving forward here. And this is not helping. I've been trying to get away, but you keep getting in front, and I'm trying to avoid that if at all possible." But that's part of the deal here in iRacing is
trouble! Trouble here, and a big one! And Tyndall's involved this time!
Oh.
He couldn't keep getting away with it, and Zach Tyndall's involved this time. Just around 35 to go tonight, and Zach Tyndall finally involved. It was a three-wide moment that, the 32 had forced, and it's a hard hit for Tyndall himself. Mm-hmm. Now, I'm sure that he hasn't used his faster pair yet, but he will go to the back pretty much in that accident there, which again caused by a three-wide moment. The 32 it was who actually made the contact with him, and Tyndall just gets hooked around here completely from the low side.
Yeah, and that's he made several withdrawals from the luck bank tonight, and he finally overdrew on that last one, and just nothing he could do. He was just a passenger there as he got hooked on the back. I don't know, as we're hearing from Omet, that she thinks the engine's off, but obviously lots of damage on that. Yeah, I don't think he's had the chance. He's had to take it to. Is he going to tow here? Okay, so he's towing now, and so he's going to tow back. I don't think he took his fast repair. But we'll see. Obviously, he had a little bit of damage that last time in, but he wasn't in there very much. But yeah, just floated up the track a little bit. So him and the 32 got together. I don't say I won't blame the 32. I think that's just a racing deal, unfortunately, just part of plate racing. As he just kind of floats up the track a little bit and just catches the edge there, and you just kind of see it. And not anything anybody could have done there to prevent that from happening. So now everything's changed again, as Nash was actually, before that caution, was over a half a lap down to the field. So they were well on their way to lapping him, and so he gets a reprieve from that. We'll get to stay to the back as we see Tyndall now waiting on his car to get repaired. I'm trying to look to see if the car's up on jacks. I think he's still actually waiting on the car to be brought back to the pits for the tow. But that's going to give Nash a chance to move up in the field as everybody comes in. He's going to go back up to P2 right behind Shermatti, so he'll be on the outside of the front row when we restart, and puts him back in the driver's seat for the championship. So the tables have turned once again.
It's not only the fact, by the way, that Tyndall is going to have to take that fast repair and take a lot of repairs there to get back going again, but also the fact that there are less cars on the lead lap now. Mm-hmm. So I think Nogue is going to be put back onto the lead lap as the free pass already happened. Anyway, even if it is only Nogue or whatever, then it will be only 15 on the lead lap, and that puts Brian Nash's, the requirements previously were just finished on the lead lap, and that is even more the case now. And so actually he's in a situation where there's less laps to go in the race, and so there's more likely to be a caution, and he's less likely to actually drop a lap before the end of the race anyway, even if he's running at his own on his own at the back. And even dropping one lap now might not be enough for Tyndall, even if he wins the race, because of the amount of drivers that are out of this race now. And with that latest one there, quite a few guys getting called up again. Wonder whether we're starting to see guys who are not actually able to use a fast repair again and might be in there for some time. Cody Johnson's still in there, by the way, and pretty much good as done in this race. I don't think we're far away from being able to call this one. Nash has just got to stay out of trouble here, and I think we're going to see... I don't think we're going to see him as part of the main group, actually, again in this race, because of the very sort of minimal requirements, really, that he needs now to win the championship.
Yeah, and I think just kind of looking, I think Tyndall has been in the pits now long enough that the car should be back and repairs being affected. So if he did indeed blow his engine there as part of that last incident, that's going to be championship and race done for tonight. If not, he can get back out. I don't think, as you said, not much chance that he's going to be able to come back from several laps down. So it's going to be Nash just staying out of trouble and finishing this race off, and that's going to be it there. But still, obviously, we got a race to win tonight. So we've still got 15 cars on the lead lap, and they'll be out there doing their best to try and win this race. So we're going to get some drama before this is all said and done. It might not be championship drama, but it is going to be race-winning drama.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's exactly what we want to see here. Interesting call from Sam Stramacci and Brian Nash to stay out, by the way. Nash getting back to the front here and therefore out of trouble again as well, because he's going to be able to lead one of these lines. Well, this is weird. Hansen, what's going on here? Nogue is sort of stuck in the middle of the field. He's not going backwards or forwards. Sort of needs to get out of here. He's not. Mm-hmm. Yeah, there we go. He's pulling to the low side now, and he's going. But yeah. Interesting call for them, because they would have to pit in the next 10 laps. If this runs green, then they could end up making a green flag pit stop, which would be pretty unhelpful.
Yeah, absolutely. That's not going to help their chances. I think we're at a point now with, with 32 laps left in the race. I think everybody still has to come back down one more time, but we'll see. I think that's going to be at least one more stop for everybody. So it's... I don't know that it's a race winning or race losing strategy to stay out for this time, because I think everybody comes back in at least one more time, as long as they've got enough to get to the point, to that 23, 24 lap point there to go in the race. I think we're all good to go as pace car off, ready to go racing again.
Yeah, indeed. We're pretty much ready to go again. 31 laps remaining in the season, and it's Sam Stramacci who brings them back to the green again. Brian Nash on that outside line, not getting such a good restart and not willing to pull down to the inside here, so he is in a little bit of danger of being involved in shuffle back down the field. However, he does have some freedom to go on and race for this win now, with Tyndall still down pit lane and potentially giving up on this championship from here.
Yeah, I think so. As we see everybody diving to the bottom, leaving Nash and Sorrow out on the high side by themselves there. As everybody else decides we're going to go down to the bottom and start. And now Dynamo decides to go up and join them. So he's going to go up and add another body to that top line, as the outside line starting to work a little better now, starting to get a little momentum, and it's now side by side at the front.
Side by side for the lead, and Nash gets to the lead in time for the end of the lap. Look at the gaps in behind here. This is already a pretty wounded field from these opening 50 laps of this race. I mean, it seems like everybody's a bit frightened after the cautions that we've seen so far, to be honest. They don't want to be caught up in another. Look at the gaps we're seeing back here. Survival is on everyone's mind back there right now.
Yeah, absolutely. As you see, the bit of the racing is the first three rows. Everybody else is just a little hesitant, trying to make sure they can keep their car relatively clean to the end of the race, not wanting to really do anything. It's probably not a bad thing. Is we'll have a nice easy start here. Everybody kind of work their way back into it, and we've got 30 laps to the end. Still expect to see green flag pit stops. Should we stay green, and then we'll do some real racing here toward the end of this race as the closer the laps become to the end. The more chances people will start taking if they sense an opportunity to get up there and maybe get a podium or a race win tonight.
Indeed. Down the backstretch again. It is starting to group up just that little bit more here. At the moment, we've got 15 on the lead lap and 3 who are 1 lap down fighting for that free pass. Daniel Nogue currently in position for the free pass, and he was helping Nash earlier, but now he's got free rein as well. You can see him actually appearing on the outside line right now as well. Hansen leading the outside line. Sam Stramati is leading that inside line that has been so successful over the course of the day so far. But it's Stramati and Nash who'll be most worried about the green flag stops from here on in, because if this race does run for too long, then they will have to come in under green.
Yep. Yeah, and that was a nice move by Hansen. Saw a little opening there as the outside line fell back a little bit, slides up in front of Nash, and he was actually enjoying that outside line there toward the end of the last one, as we have a couple of cars. Whoa, one off the track is going to be in the wall. Oh, yeah, big hard hit into the wall there on the inside. So just kind of saw that in the background. That is Daniel Nogue in the 63 car, is just absolutely destroyed there from that contact. You already see it. That was Nogue and the 60 car there with the contact, and Nogue with a hard hit into that inside barrier. And you just see that car has just absolutely been demolished. Did see a couple other cars before that. You just saw them off the screen sliding again, and then just the contact there. And that once again, just enough hooked him in the left rear, and around he goes, sliding down into the barrier.
That's Dingman making the contact with Nogue there. That sends Nogue into the wall. No caution, as far as I can see, for that. So we stay green here, and you can see that the gap that it's made in the field. The first driver now, who's 1 lap down, by the way, is Braxton Merrifield. And he's got a bit of a bigger gap as well, since he's involved, I think, in this front group. Indeed he is. And nobody else off the lead lap is, so just needs to hang out at the back of this group. And he'll get the free pass when the next caution comes out. Dare I say it as well, when the next caution comes out, we might see the final pit stops of the season. I believe we're in the window now where you can pit and make it to the end from here as well.
Yeah, I think so. I think we're at that point now that everybody should be able to make it to the end, provided we don't have a green-white checker there. So we're right at that point as Hansen and Nash have taken it to the bottom, and we see that group on the high side. Ross and the 95 car there of Thomas running high, as we see, I think Simmons dropped to the bottom to jump in front of Hansen, and Ross did as well. So kind of see this in the real life stuff as well, as you see Sorrow slide down the bottom. Oh, very close there. The 48 Shermati just had to kind of avoid that. Not sure there was quite the room that he thought there was as Sorrow slid down. But nice job of Shermati of recognizing that, maybe lifting just ever so slightly to allow that window to open up for Sorrow.
And it's all about a little bit of give and take here at Daytona, at these super speedways, as we always know. Going down the backstretch, you can see this front group here, a lead lap contingent of 10, with also 1 or 2 lapped cars as well, including the current free pass driver, who is Braxton Merrifield in 16th position. Look at the front 3 getting away a little bit here as well. Ross, Simmons and Hansen making a break for it right now. Don't see this too often, but we're going to see a front 3 actually just pull themselves completely out of a big group like this and go off up the road contesting the race win between themselves. They've got really quite a big gap here.
They have indeed, and that is kind of odd. You don't normally see that as those 3 cars have kind of jumped out a little bit ahead of the pack by almost a full second. So they've actually got out of the kind of the draft of that bigger group. So now the response of the bigger group is line up. do some bump drafting, you'll catch those three cars quicker than you'll realize. But you've got to get organized and get lined up. Not sure we're at that stage yet where they're going to fight that. But you see the 73 and the 48 come in for their pit stops.
They had to. At some point, they had to. And now they will do. It leaves 8 in the front group contesting the victory. Maybe it only leaves 3 with the gaps that we're seeing at the front here. This is 3 pretty good race cars by the looks of things, by the way that they're racing away from the rest of the pack here. Simmons in the middle, Ross leading, and Hansen you can see lagging off the back a little bit. Cameron Sauer's made a bit of a break from the other group, by the way, but he's more than a second away from these guys now. We've seen a breakaway of 3 here and a field that is just decimated. The incidents and accidents I don't think have been too frequent, to be honest, compared to some super speedway races that you can see, but it's taken its toll on this field. I think this is almost looks like a tired field to me, and now there's guys coming in to pit lane. This is pretty early as far as what I was expecting from some of these drivers. Maybe they're just hedging their bets with others having stopped already, and they know, of course, they can make it to the end from here. They're coming in at this stage. They're opting to pit under green for the final time in this season.
Yep, absolutely. Coming in, getting their stop done. They're going to have enough to get to the end. Even with a green-white checker, they should make it fairly easily, and that's going to leave the 28, the 02 out there by themselves. Her and Daly still out there, and they're a party of 2 with a 5-second gap back to Merrifield. So as these cautions go through, as these pits go through, they'll all end up back around each other as once they're all done. But for right now, it just kind of looks a little broken out there. As you see the 48 and the 73 working together, getting by the 3 that just came out of the pits. And so those 3 will get the speed bit back up and try and hook to the back of this group. As this group is still, you see a car exiting the pits in front of them. So we've got pit stops happening, and all these cars are kind of on different strategies. And this car, I think the 27 there, should be able to tuck to the back of the 73 and hook back in and be able to keep up.
A look around the corner there, as we're trying to. Simmons is leading this race, but he's completely on his own. Net leading this race, completely on his own. Out the pit lane now for Nathan Merrifield, who's certainly got a better chance than Mark Dingman of being involved with these guys, but Simmons cannot do this on his own, and he's going to need some help from some of these others who are getting involved here and helping each other. There's Merrifield, who has been passed very easily by Simmons. He's the first one in this race who can make it to the end of this race, by the way. Her and Daly and Tate still have to come in yet. Simmons is going to be run down, though, by these 2. But Stramati and Nash need to get there in time for that to happen as well. So there's a number of pairings here who are in with each other. These 2 are pretty close, though. Stramati is close to Hansen, getting the draft off of him right now. And by that point, they'll be getting towards Simmons, who's actually been reeled in now. And there's a caution. So this is not going to play its way out in full. There's a caution out there on the racetrack. There's just 11 on the lead lap at this stage, and the free pass driver is still Braxton Merrifield. There'll be only 12 on the lead lap, though. Some of these guys will be caught out by this caution.
Yeah, here we go. Miller, Reeves, and Jackson as they're running in a tandem of 3 here. And you see them just, there's already an incident in front, and just sliding down the track. Really not much the 21 could have done there. Unfortunate, as we're going to get another replay here from the cockpit. You see the incident ahead, and you get a good look at what the driver's seeing as they work their way through. And here, as the cars slow down, they just slide down the track, and there you go. And there's another engine blown. I heard it go there from the 21. So another engine lets go, and the 21 tows back to the pits. But you just see the self-cleaning track here at Daytona. As those cars slow down, gravity starts working and just slide down to the bottom. And, if you're down there and you're still at a high rate of speed, it's very, very likely that you're going to end up making contact. And I think it was kind of also to the fact I think he still had a car on the outside as well. So we see that contact again there as the 36 gets in to a car on the bottom and slides up the track into 29. We're going to see this is that's the 60 car down there. Was who the other car involved in that. Mark Dingman and Datamo and Cameron Sorrow involved there initially, and then we saw what happened with the other ones as they came up to the incident.
Dare I say that those guys could have seen that coming, to be honest. That crash happened a long time before
it did.
They got there.
It did, but at 180 something miles an hour,
Well, I know
it's you know, and you don't know. It's the thing about it is you don't know when the momentum of the car is going to stop, and then the car is just going to start sliding down. They will all eventually do it. But you just never know when it's going to happen. And so he's down on the bottom thinking he's okay as both cars are up against the wall. And then as those cars slow down they come, and you're not going to jump to the high side there and successfully, because I think what happens is he goes to the high side and he ends up hitting the wall himself, which may have been the lesser of two evils, but that's a split-second decision. And so I'm not going to fault the guy. I would have probably tried to do the same thing and probably had the same result.
It just seemed like it was happening for a very long time before the actual crash happened. But there you go. Anyway, it doesn't really matter. Fifth caution of the night, and we'll see whether this next race start will be the last one. We're getting to the stage now, though, in the last 20 laps, where cautions are going to knock quite a decent percentage off for the remaining part of the race. So, got to be very wary when cautions come out about how many laps there still are to go. Because of the stops that we've just seen there, everybody can now make it to the end of this race at least. Because of waiver rounds as well as free pass and whatever, we're going to get 14 on the lead lap here to begin this final run to the end. Sean Lester is only one lap down and will be fighting potentially with Michael Dadamo for that free pass. Maybe not, actually. Dadamo's 2 laps down, sorry. So Sean Lester just needs one more caution, and he'll have a chance to get back. Zach Tyndall did spend 13 minutes down on pit lane. Is now back out, though. And that is good to see, at least. But he is 11 laps down on the overall leaders and all but out of contention here. In fact, as we get to 11 to go, it will become absolutely official. But it's as good as official right now. Brian Nash is going to be our champion. And he's known that for a while, I think, Nash, because of what's happened to Tyndall and because of the amount of drivers on the lead lap. Anyway, don't forget, Nash only needs a top 18 finish. And at the moment, 18th place is a good 4 laps down on the... further, actually, 5 laps down on the race leader. However, we've just seen a difference in him. We've seen him suddenly competing for the race win, and maybe he is going to get his race win right in the very final one of the season, because in case you haven't seen it so far, this season so far, he hasn't got one yet, Brian Nash, although he is on his way to a title. Yeah,
absolutely, and it is good to see Zach Tyndall back out. He's going to finish this race under his own power, albeit 11 laps down to the leader, but he's back out there, and that's some great sportsmanship on Tyndall's part. Once again, these guys, as soon as they get the cars repaired, seemingly all of them are back out there, just back on the track, running laps. Even though they know there's mathematically not much chance that he's going to be able to get back to the lead lap, or even close to that, but he's back out there to finish it off, and good on the vice champion here, the 43, to get back out there and finish this race off. May even see a few donuts there at the end of it for his second place in the championship.
Let's wait and see as this fifth caution draws to a close. We'll have 16 laps remaining, so a possible 4 cautions before we start getting into green, white, checkered territory, or overtime, whatever you want to call it these days. So plenty of cautions to come until then. Potentially a lot of laps to come between now and then. We'll wait and see what the remainder of this race has to offer. Still, as I said earlier, 14 on the lead lap. Here we go then. It's going to be Ryan Simmons in control of the field this time around. In the I2I Championship 200, Brian Nash on the third position in the inside line. They're our champion in waiting as the race goes back green. That is not a good restart on the outside from Trevor Thomas, who's got that outside line going absolutely nowhere on this restart.
No, absolutely not. He did not get off the line well at all. As we get going here, you see a nice jump there on the inside. Simmons and Hansen just moving to the front, and we've still got some pretty fast race cars up here. Hansen's been quick. Nash obviously has shown some good speed at the front of the field. Simmons has done a great job all race long of being there or thereabouts. Just trying to keep himself out of trouble, and has done so as we are now getting back up to full song here with about 16 laps to go. And Simmons leads over Hansen and Nash.
Indeed, it's a very, very small outside line still competing out there at the moment. Trevor Thomas still leading it. Sam Stramati stuck behind it and looking for ways he can get out of it at the moment. Whoa, pulling down to the inside there. Caleb Ross now gets out of it, and now Sam Stramati does as well. He might well just skip past Thomas and then go back to the outside again here and try and get something happen. It's clear that Trevor Thomas has got that outside line going absolutely nowhere here, and he has now got himself to the inside. So we're all single file with 14 and a half to go.
It doesn't look like that's going to last long there as the 28 car of her is back to the outside again by himself. So nobody decided they want to go with him this time. So we'll see how long he hangs back out there as Thomas is still out there on the outside, starting to make up a little bit of that gap as he gets a little bit of the draft off of her. But her is going as quickly backward as Thomas is coming forward. So don't see a lot of help there. And I think her decides, I'm just going to slide back down, cut my losses there at a couple positions, and we'll reset, and we'll do that again a little bit later.
Yeah, indeed. Not much time remaining in this race, though. 14 to go now, and this inside. Oh, Trevor Thomas all over the place there. Now goes back to the inside again. Oh, and there's a look at 3 wide as well. It's the 60 is on the outside. Mark Dingman looking to make things happen, but look at that further up. Christopher Herr moves to the outside, but there's the danger. This is why some people have been put off so far. Christopher Herr's got nobody going with him.
Nope. No, and he's just out there once again by himself. He wants to move up and challenge for this race victory, but nobody has decided they want to go out and play. They're just staying down the bottom with 13 to go. So as these laps wind down, I think we'll see more takers, but you see her just once again sliding back in. He's down to P9. It's just nobody wants to go, and I see Caleb Ross now thinking about it. So maybe those two guys are going to start working together, the 27 and 28, but not just yet, as we've got one lone car on the high side. Is that Dingman still out there? It is indeed the 60 car running on the high side there, and I think he's, obviously he is he's on the lead lap, so he's done well to hang out there, but once again, he's out there by himself, not really doing much of anything, as a couple other cars join him, but they're down in the P10, P11 area.
The top 10 or so.
There we
completely go. Here we go, though. Her now moves to the outside again, and he is still and now there's something happening here. There's a few more drivers interested, and to be fair, with about 25% less of the race remaining than when Her was last doing this, they're a bit more enticed to do it. There's Merrifield pulling in front of Stramati as well, so Sam Stramati not going to be the leader of those on the outside line, but you can see about half of those on the inside were interested, although so many have gone to the high side they've almost blocked each other up there. And Daly's getting free positions on the low side here, so's Caleb Ross, but that's only going to be very brief. Now the stack up begins, and now the run for Merrifield begins. He gets to the outside of Hansen for second. He gets to the outside of Ryan Simmons for first, and we've got a proper side-by-side fight for the lead.
Yeah, absolutely. Now we've got some numbers on the outside with Merrifield and Stramati, and the car behind him can't quite get that number. I think maybe Sorrow there as well, and then Her who was the initial ringleader there, but currently running in fourth in that outside line. So starting to drop back off again as maybe a couple cars have dropped to the bottom, but that outside line, I think, is starting to pick up a little bit of momentum, and so I think we're going to have some proper side-by-sides up here for the lead here in quickness, I think.
Looks like it. Here comes Merrifield off the tri-oval, looking good for the lead here. Can he get past? Simmons is getting some good help from Hansen at the moment, who I think's got a very fast race car, by the way. He's boxed in, though, in the 72 there on the inside line, so he's not going to be able to do much with that other than help Simmons here. Outside for Merrifield, and he's gone to the lead. Sam Stramati pushing him down the backstretch, potentially to be able to clear themselves into the turn 3. Stramati can't quite, but Merrifield can, and he gets to the inside for turn 3.
Yeah, you see, we were talking about that a little earlier where we had two cars would clear the outside and drop to the bottom. I believe it was Hansen and Nash the last time. And you just see some of the cars that work together, you'll see them clear too. The cars that are, I would say, temporary volunteers for teammates, those don't last very long. As soon as the lead car clears, he drops to the bottom and takes over the race lead. So now it's Stramati and Sorrow and her and the 27 of Caleb Ross on the outside. They'll start trying to build the momentum, and they're going to try and jump to the front as well.
And as of lap 70, by the way, Brian Nash in that number 73 O'Reilly's machine is the champion of the I2I Motorsports O'Reilly Series this season. He now cannot be caught. We knew that realistically for some time. Now it's a mathematical impossibility. Brian Nash can now not be caught by anybody in this season. So congratulations to him. And he's got the chance now to go on and cap it off with a victory.
Absolutely, yeah. Let's see it. Let's cap this championship off with a race win here to end it, as he's fourth on that inside line. So he's running about sixth overall. So he's in a really good spot here with 8 to go. But once again, boxed in, not really able to do anything here at this point. He's going to need that inside line to get a little bit tighter. I think they need to close those gaps to A, prevent cars from dropping down in between them, and B, just to make it a little bit faster on the inside.
At the moment, Nash is locked in on that inside line, boxed in, really. Simmons and Merrifield proving to be a decent pushing pairing at the front of the moment, but if I were them, I'd be a little bit worried about Hansen in behind, because as I mentioned briefly a moment ago, I think that 72 car is very quick indeed, and if Hansen decides to go to the outside with Stramati, pushing, he's currently leading the outside line, I think that could be a very dangerous pairing, and that would be something for Merrifield and Simmons to think about. Would they go up and block that, or would they let that happen and get in behind those two? It's an interesting call, but at the moment the outside line's only going backwards, so Hansen's not even going to be thinking about it right now.
No, absolutely not. And a little squirrely there on the front is the bump going bad there between Merrifield and Simmons. And Hansen's been quick on the high side as well, so he's been able to run well up at the top. So I think if he sees that outside line starting to work its way forward, he already was kind of thinking about moving up. So you see him kind of not quite on the bottom of the track. So he's really just thinking, I'm going to go up and block that outside run if I have to. And now Nash is going to do it. He's going to move to the outside.
So it's gone so far down the line there, Stramati. They've run so bad in the last few moments that even Brian Nash has got clear now, and he's been able to go up to the outside. And he has had a fast race car when he's been competing at the front, as he was before those stage points. And now he's being pushed hard. Hansen's trying to side draft them to stop them, but it's inevitable. Oh, there's trouble in the background. That might well be a caution. It's happening below the apron. So at the moment we're still green. It's going to reduce the front group again though, as they get to 5 to go at the line.
Yeah, and we saw probably a push gone bad as both cars drop off the apron. We're still green flag. The outside line stalls out just a little bit, and it's Hansen and Nash even there for third place.
Any caution from now would force us into extra laps at the end of the night. So 5 to go means any caution from now, we're into green-white checkers. A little bit later, that's a little bit of a push for Merrifield, which has gone bad, and he's trying to block now, that's why. So Simmons, there's a big shove to Merrifield. Nash is gone on the backstretch. It's going to be a load of guys involved in this, and there's going to be a caution and a dash to the end. It's a good job Brian Nash has got this championship locked up, because that front left wheel's locked up and he won't be going anywhere quickly with that.
No, absolutely not. And you just kind of see that. That is a classic plate racing there. We get within 10 laps at the end, and the give and take just becomes take. And I think that was just a little too much of a bump there as Merrifield up on the high side, or one of the cars that slid up, just moves up to the top and just gets slammed in the back, and just nothing he could have done about that, as Nash, I think, was the pusher there, but you could just see the bit of the run, that was Merrifield up there, and just got hit really hard. Grabbed Simmons, who's been fast all race long, unfortunately got involved in that as well, and yeah, you see it, and it wasn't a direct hit. I think Nash maybe should have lifted just a little bit to maybe not hit as hard, or to line that up a little better. But when you got a car and you're at full chat, it's kind of difficult to make those last second decisions again, as now Nash comes in. I think he's taking his fast repair at this point, and he's going to come back out and at least finish off the race again with this. We'll see it again here with this replay, and it's just a really hard hit there. Wasn't quite square. Merrifield involved, Nash involved. Hansen missed that. Shermati missed that as well. So those two cars are going to be up at the front. Herr's going to be up at the front, who's had a fast race car all night. And Tate, Daly, Dingman, Ross are going to be the 7 that kind of got through all that. And so we'll see what happens here as we're getting ready for our green, white, checker finish. And you thought it was a little crazy there a minute ago. It's about to ramp up just a little bit more.
It certainly is. It is going to be an exciting finish to the season. As always, it seems to be at Daytona, with a 2-lap dash to the end. A few pit stops happening, and I imagine mostly damage related. You look around at this stage and think, well, who's left to actually win this race now? Because there's been so many fall by the wayside so far tonight. There's not actually going to be many cross the line at the end of this race. There's only 17, I think, who are in with a chance of doing that. The bottom 6 are all out. Jake Miller, Jason Reeves, Daniel No, Gostin Stamper, Steve Cunningham and Cody Johnson all out at this stage. And there's even fewer on the lead lap at the moment, 13 at the very maximum, and that's if they all get out the pit lane in time, and they will do here to stay on the lead lap. So yeah, it's a very reduced field, and the lights are off of the pace car actually already, so this won't be a green white checkered attempt. Excuse me. Wow. This will be 2 laps to go though, so it will feel like one, but this doesn't count as an attempt. This is just 2 laps to go in the scheduled 200 miles.
Yeah, the natural green, white checker here is we're on the last 2 laps of the race. So not overtime, but it's going to feel like it, as you said, as we've got Shermati and Hansen, Herr and Tate, your top 4 there. And it's going to be a shootout here for the final 2 laps, and we'll see what kind of run this run. We get the green here, that outside line, they're going to have to be right on top of things in order to be in it with a chance here, or they're going to be down in 6th place before they know it. If that inside line gets to start like what we've been seeing over the course of this race.
Well, here we go then. It could be the final 2 laps of the season. It's certainly the final 2 scheduled laps of the I2I Motorsports O'Reilly's series this season. The pace car comes into pit lane, and in the I2I Championship 200, there are just 5 miles to go out of the restart zone for the potentially final time this season, and we're back underway. Sam Shermati leading them to the green, and he has the choice now of blocking Hansen on that outside, who also comes down to the low side.
Yeah, Hansen got a good enough start there to slot into P2, but now he's got to run on the outside. He's going to try and take it as he gets to the outside of Shermati. Herr comes up into 3rd, Tate in 4th, and so it's side by side for the to come down the backstretch here as the inside line starts moving again.
Look at this. No one went with Hansen, and one of the fast race cars in tonight's race is going backwards very quickly here. Her wanted second place instead to try and get past Stramati coming towards the end of the final lap here. There must be some damaged race cars down towards the back there because only really the top 6 are able to compete right now. Brian Nash is steaming in from that second group. We're going to get to the white flag, and this race this season is official.
There we go, as we see Hansen slide down, Nash slides down, so back to single file here for a moment, as I think we're going to see Hansen and Nash probably trying to work together to get back up to the front if they absolutely can, but nothing doing here as we're through 1 and 2.
Here we go. Her's got to do something here towards the end. He's going to get boxed in if he's not too careful, so he might have to go early here. Side by side already in the background, which is going to probably take them out the equation here because the top 4 are still all single file right now, coming towards 3 and 4. Stramati moving up just a little bit to block her, who's going to have to go for this off for 4. Stramati's going to move up high to block again. Another push, another bit of a bump. Sam Stramati weaves left and right, and he's going to win the I2I Championship 200 here at Daytona Superspeedway. It is a fantastic end to the season for Stramati. It's Brian Nash in the pack who gets home 7th, and he is the champion of the I2I Motorsports O'Reilly Series here at Daytona tonight, as Sam Stramati takes the victory here of the final race of the season. He'll end the season potentially 4th place, potentially even in the top 3 of this championship. We'll wait and see by the end, but it's his first victory of the season right at the very end in that 2-lap run to the finish in the final round of this season, and he blocked there absolutely perfectly.
He did indeed. Yeah, great bit of defensive driving there, Stramati. Just driving with the mirror, and that's exactly how you have to do it there at the end. As her looked high and low to try and get away, could try and get around and just was not able to do it. Great bit of driving by Stramati, and a great victory. That was a fantastic ending to this race and a fantastic ending to the season as well.
Yeah, indeed. Sam Stramati wins here tonight from Daytona in front of Christopher Hurt and Ryan Daly, who ends up getting that podium in the end. James Tate trying to take that off him right at the very end. Mark Dingman gets the top 5 in front of Court Hansen, who went backwards quickly there, as you saw towards the end. Brian Nash wins the title from 7th place. And we'll chat to him last in our interviews here tonight. Trevor Thomas, Braxton Merrifield and Sean Lester round out the top 10. Keller Bross, Dylan Jackson and Nathan Merrifield got to the end on the lead lap at least. And those laps down in the end, Cameron Sarah, Ryan Simmons, who ran out the top 15. Michael Tadamo, 16th. Zach Tyndall is going to finish 2nd in this championship tonight with that 17th place finish. Jake Miller, Jason Reeves, Daniel Nogue rounding out the top 20. Ahead of Austin Stamper, Steve Cunningham, Cody Johnson, who did not finish here tonight. Just waiting for a moment to see whether Sam Stramati is going to get himself into the waiting room, I suppose we'll go. And no, that's not him. So we'll do him last, at least to the podium drivers, and bring in Ryan Daly first of all. He finishes in 3rd place here tonight. Ryan, welcome in. Good to have you with us, and congrats on a 3rd place run at Daytona tonight. Let's tell us about that final restart for yourself. Side by side run to the line there with James Tate for 3rd place. How was that?
Hey, thanks, man. It was a lot of fun. A great race, a lot of fun. I just trying to keep it clean the whole time and just be there at the end. And yeah, there right at the end, I was just like, well, I'm going to have to get some sort of run. So I didn't think I was going to be able to do anything to get the win. I wasn't able to get any good runs like that, but I was like, maybe I can at least race for 3rd here. But yeah, just hung back just a little bit, got a good run, and it was a nice little race there down for 3rd place against James.
We're just seeing your evolution of your position throughout the day on our screens at the moment, and you dipped down to 18th with some repairs just after lap 20 and in one of those crashes there. And we saw you had some fairly sizable damage at one stage, which did seem to be holding you back, but how were you able to recover from there and actually quite steeply get yourself back into the top 5 after dropping all the way down to the back of the field?
I just tried to be as calm as I could and just try to be smart with my runs. And, I took a few, and, there's a few times you really had to be aggressive. And if you were clear, you had to just like take the line away, and or else you're just gonna get freight trained by a bunch of cars. So I just tried to be as smart as I could. But it was a lot of fun. I was glad I was able to get back up there, because earlier in the race, I didn't think I'd be up close like this. So it's a good time though.
Well, yeah, congratulations on getting the 3rd place here tonight. Thanks for chatting to us at the end as well.
Hey, thank you so much. Y'all have a good night.
Thanks very much, Ryan Daly. Third place here tonight from Daytona, in front, just behind rather, Christopher Herr, who finishes in second place. So Christopher, welcome in. Good to have you with us. Second place in the end here tonight. Didn't quite have enough to get past Sam Stramati for the win there. How were those final 2 laps?
They were they were a blast for sure. But I'm definitely happy for Sam, my teammate there, to get the win. Just a little bit of fun there at the end, try to get around him. So, but definitely glad for him to get the win.
Were you ever at any point? Well, you obviously weren't going to crash him out to win, but were you ever sort of, because it seemed like, you know, he never actually even managed to get the side draft there to try and get alongside him at any stage on that run to the line out of the final corner. Were you sort of ever really close to managing that in terms of getting alongside so you could side draft him a little bit, or was that just good blocking on his part, would you say?
I think I needed to leave a little more room coming into 3 and 4 there, and maybe gotten a bigger run coming out of 4. But no, he did a great job. He's been fantastic at that all year. Even at Talladega, there we were up front most of the second half of the race, and there was no chance I was getting around him there either. So no, he's great at that for sure.
Well, congratulations on the second place finish at the final race tonight at Daytona, and thanks for chatting to us at the end tonight as well.
Yep, thanks guys.
Thanks very much, Christopher Herr. Second place here tonight, 20 laps led, actually more than the eventual race winner, Sam Stramati, who can join us now as well. Sam, welcome in. Congratulations on your first win of the season, coming right at the very end. Just talk us through that final run to the checkered flag there in those final few laps.
Appreciate it, guys. No, that got a little wild at the end. That was my teammate behind me, Christopher. Thought we were going to wreck each other there. But good to end the season on a win and carry that into next season.
Well, absolutely. How do you reflect on this season now? A season where you might have even scraped into the top 3 in points with this last finish. Might be 4th place for you, actually, now that I look at the points again. But anyway, how do you sort of reflect on this season and take that into the next one?
I'm happy with it. You know, joining 5 races late, I'm happy with finishing 3rd or 4th in the points and looking forward to getting a full season next up.
Indeed, starting in 4 weeks' time. We look forward to seeing you there, Sam. Thanks for chatting to us tonight. Congrats again on the win at Daytona.
Yep, thanks again, guys. Appreciate it.
Thanks very much. That is Sam Stramati, who wins the final race of the season tonight. Down in 7th was our champion, Brian Nash, who joins us now as well. Brian, congratulations. You are the I2I Motorsports O'Reilly Series champion this season. Just tell us how that feels there to have finally sealed this title.
Yeah, I don't know. Not even winning a race, man. It feels great. I want to thank everybody that races with us. I respect all these drivers that are out here. I wish it could have been better, you know, with Josh Parent not making the race. I got to give it out to Zach. He ran a pretty good race too. You guys in the broadcast, you guys do a heck of a job. I love watching it all the time. Trey, he does a great job of putting this league together. Shoot, I don't know, I'm forgetting all kinds of people, probably my wife and my teammate Dan and everybody. So I don't want to get too mushy. Go ahead.
Well, no, you're more than welcome to. I mean, I want to talk a little bit about how this race went tonight, because there was one stage where after the stage break where you went out and got points that in the end wasn't quite enough to get you the title at that stage after 30 points, but you know it got you pretty close, and it meant you only had to finish in the top 18 there. Tell us about that moment there where you were running for a good period of this race, 20 laps or so, right around on your own, and with Daniel No for a little while, but on your own for the most part, just staying completely out of trouble, having faith really that, and in the end correct faith that there would be another caution before you would get lapped and everything like that. But talk us through the thought process of that part of the race there as you sort of it went into sort of ultra survival mode.
Well, I don't know if it was actually survival mode. Me and Dan tried to, run towards the back and try to just kind of cruise around and see what was going on, but he ended up having a little bit of damage, which slowed us down even more. And by the time I looked up at the track map, I was like half a lap down. And then I was just praying for a caution, because it would have been no time they'd have lapped me.
Well, indeed, it's a good job there was a caution in that case. I mean, congratulations again, Brian, on winning the title here tonight. It's been great to chat to you throughout the season. As you say, unusually winning without a race victory, but almost makes it all the more impressive with the number of top 10s, top 5s. 9 top 10s in 14 races is not bad going. So congratulations on that run again tonight, Brian, and indeed throughout the season. And thanks for chatting to us at the end as well.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Maybe next season I'll get a win.
Absolutely, maybe. Thanks very much, Brian Nash, the winner of the championship this season. Is sealed tonight at Daytona. And finally, before we leave you tonight, we'll chat to Trey Graber, who is a league owner, of course. Trey, welcome in. Good to speak to you again after the final race of the season. Just how was that championship battle from your perspective there, watching on?
Yeah, it was really good. All week long, we've been talking about it. I've been kind of helping Tyndall out with his points standings and Brian a lot this week, just trying to get him pumped up for this week. I hate it for Josh. I think tonight would have been a really fun race had Josh been here. He's always good at super speedways, always good at any track we go to. Hate it that a guy who won 4 races this year finished third in the points. But it just shows you the competition we have in this league. If you miss a race, it doesn't matter how good you are, how many wins you have in the season. If you miss a couple races, you're going to put yourself out of contention for the points. That just speaks to the competition, the skill set that we have in this league. So proud of the guys for that. Proud of the guys for doing a lot of communication all week long and during the race on where everybody was at and keeping everybody updated and making sure they tried to stay away from Zach and Brian as much as they could. I hate it for Zach. He got caught up in that big wreck with about 30 to go, which, and again, did help Brian Nash out because he was about ready to go a lap down. I think probably would have ended his race at that point. But it turned out to help him out, and he was able to stay clear of that. So props to him. I joked around him all week this week. He was our last pick of our I2I Motorsports draft that we had back in April. So he was Mr. Irrelevant, and Mr. Irrelevant goes to 0 wins, 1 podium finish, but wins the championship. So just proud of him, proud of his team that working together all season. Yeah, I'm excited for what's ahead. I'm proud of what's behind us, and just looking forward to having you guys back on in about 3 weeks' time.
Yeah, I'm absolutely looking forward to it as well. Just to remind everybody, Gen 6 season coming up starting July 18th here at Daytona as well, the traditional starting place, and we'll be back under the lights at Daytona on December 5th for the final round before the playoffs, which we didn't actually get to talk about next season actually during the race because there was so much going on here tonight. But we have finalised the format for next season, 24 weeks, 18-week regular season followed by 6-week playoffs, which the top 12 will qualify to in points. Obviously, where you finish in that top 12 will be a little bit of an advantage for those at the top versus those towards the bottom. But nothing absolutely defining, so those 12 will go in with a decent chance in the final 6 rounds. Just tell us how excited you are, Try to get back underway again in a few weeks' time with that new season and playoffs returning to I2I for the first time in, it feels like a while since those 3-race playoffs we had back a couple of seasons ago.
Yeah, I was going through the schedules, reminiscing that first season we did with you guys. I'm excited to bring the playoffs back. We're going to take, like you said, we're going to take 12 in, kind of give them some bonus points based on where they finish. I'm excited for that. What I'm also excited for, the admin team had decided to kind of give a little bit of a incentive to the guys who don't finish in the top 12. So something we're going to do there, we're going to reset everybody outside the top 12 that participates in 14 of the 18 races to 1,000 points. And whoever finishes 13th, we might send them a good amount of cash in the form of $100, just to get them to entice them to show up every week and race, whether they're in the playoffs or not. And we'll figure out something for the winner in that sense as well for the winner of the playoffs. But I'm excited for it. I'm excited because the next time we see you guys on the broadcast for I2I, it's going to be the women driving the ARCA cars at Kansas. So the guys have been talking about that all week. They're like, wait, this is our last race of the season, but that means in 2 weeks, our wives and our girlfriends are going to be driving. So all you wives and girlfriends of the I2I Motorsports drivers, this race is for you guys on July 11th. Go out there, have some fun. Motormouth Broadcast is going to be broadcasting it, so I'm excited for that. And then we'll be back with the male racers in the car come July 18th at Daytona to start a pretty good Gen 6 season. And like I said, excited for playoffs as well coming back. It's going to be a really exciting season.
Yeah, certainly we'll be looking forward to it in a few weeks' time. But Trey, thanks very much for chatting to us. Any thanks you'd like to give, by the way, before we let you go here tonight?
Yeah, just want to give shout out to you guys as always. You guys are always one of the best broadcasting teams out there on YouTube. I've heard a lot of good things from other leagues and other guys who have wanted to join our league, wanting to join our league because of both you and Charles, both of you guys, and then of course the fantastic camera work that Omet puts on behind the scenes. This is a really good group of guys and girls broadcasting team. Thankful for Jim. Remember the first day I reached out to him, we were kind of both starting from scratch in a sense, and we both took a chance on each other, and it's turned out to be probably one of the greatest adventures I've ever been on. Shout out to my wife for putting up with me every Saturday night with the stress that comes with race control and running a league, and now we've kind of created a Friday night GT3 league, so we've got 2 leagues within this league. So shout out to her, props to her for sticking by me when everything's kind of gone up and down. I want to give a special shout out to a good buddy of mine, Michael Dodimo. Back in March, I had to pack up my computer to fly to Texas, and I was without my PC for about 7 weeks. And Michael stepped up and ran race control, pretty much ran the league while I was out. So appreciate that. Appreciate him as well. Shout out to my admin team. They've been great at keeping kind of things going. And then again, like I said, all the drivers for racing hard and racing smooth this season. Last shout out Brian Nash for everything he's done this season to make this league better. And then I want to shout out the 63 car, Dan Nogue. He did a lot of improvement this season. But spoiler alert, the company that Dan works for, Action Roofing, that's been on his car all season, has decided to sponsor the league next season for the entire season as the premier sponsor. So thankful for them for seeing and believing in us and coming on board next season. Like I said, shout out to all you guys out in the comments and watching live. We couldn't do this without you guys, even though it's virtual. It's our fans and the viewers that keep us going each week in and out. Yeah. Other than that, like I said, all around good group of guys around here at I2I. I'm excited for big things to come in the future.
Absolutely, we are as well. Big thanks to you as well, Trey, for everything that you do behind the scenes, not only running the league, but also for us at MAF, especially in terms of, from a pure commentary perspective, I'm talking about now, giving us info on all kinds of things that we need info on, especially about points and stuff, which gets very complicated at this time of the season.
Yeah, it does.
So thanks for that over the course of tonight and the last few weeks as well. And we'll speak to you again in a few weeks' time when we're all ready to go again after the July the 4th holiday and everything. Have a good holidays, and we'll see you in July for the new season.
All right, sounds good. See you guys later.
Thanks very much. Trey Graber, the owner, of course, of I2I Motorsports, chat to us at the end of this season. Charles, it's the end of a great season. Brian Nash, a worthy winner and a worthy race to end the season as well. Just on these final points, by the way, which have been updated, Nash is going to be crowned champion by 32 points in the record books. Josh Parent just hold on to third. Sam Smarty moves ahead of Luke Guthrie, who wasn't here tonight, to fourth. James Tate and Mark Dingman move ahead of Ryan Simmons to 6th and 7th in the top 10. Daniel Nogan, Austin Samper also end the season with top 10 points finishes at the end of this season. But it's been a great 14-round calendar, and I'm very much ready to do it all again for 24 weeks next time round, starting in the end of July.
Yeah, it's been great. Obviously, I started, my first race was the All-Star event at Miami, but just thankful that Jim had the faith in me to ask me to come in and join you and Omet in the booth. I've had a blast. Obviously, NASCAR was my original racing love here in Alabama. With the dozen or so times I've made my way over to Talladega, so just great to get back to it, and hopefully looking forward to next season to see what that's on offer with those Gen 6 cars. Long schedule, so we're in for the long haul. But playoff potential there, and even for the cars, I love the fact that even for the cars that don't make the playoffs, you show up every week, you come racing. Whether you finish first or last, you get points, and you run enough races, and you're still in the chance for some cash at the end of the season, and that's fantastic. So looking forward to a nice little break, and then we'll crank it up and do it all over again.
Yeah, absolutely. One final reminder, 18th of July, the start of the new season, the Gen 6 series here at I2I Motorsports. That will run all the way through to January 30th and the end of those playoffs. So we're very much looking forward to that. Will be live here on MotorMap Broadcasting about 8 o'clock Eastern on Saturday nights, returning again after a few weeks off. Enjoy the July the 4th holidays, everybody. Well, we're not racing on Saturday nights for the next few weeks, and we'll come back refreshed with the Gen 6 series in the middle of July. Go on, Emmett.
Yeah.
Hey guys. I sound groggy, but I wanna thank you and Charles for the excellent job, and I want to thank Jim for bringing me on here, and Trey for hosting the thing, and I want to shout out to Audi for abandoning my car.
There's a bit of an inside MotorMath joke for you there.
Yeah.
But no, thanks to very much, Emmett, for your camera work over the course of the season as well. Of course, here at I2I Motorsports on Saturday nights, it's been great to cover it here on Saturdays. So thanks to you as well, Charles, for being alongside me since the All-Star race, as you say, at Miami, and looking forward to a full season. Oh, this has felt like a full season, to be honest, together, but looking forward to a proper full season coming up next time around, as I say, starting on July 18th. As Trey said as well, big thanks to everyone who's been tuned in over the course of the season, not just tonight, but that is just about it from us here on MotorMap Broadcasting, here at the I2I Motorsports O'Reilly Series. I've been Neil Leary alongside Charles Bosher with Emmett Owen behind the cameras. We'll see you again for the Gen 6 series on July 18th. It's goodbye for now.